We tend to focus a lot on supercharging and turbocharging cars, but what about the third option? That's right, I'm talking about spraying nitrous oxide. Now, are you going to run a wet setup or a dry setup? First off, what is NOS, or nitrous oxide? Well, it's very simple. It's basically just a gas that has a much higher oxygen concentration in it than the atmospheric air alone. All right, so now how do we get it into the motor? Well, that's what I was talking about before when I was saying it's either a wet setup or a dry setup. So there's four main ways of spraying your car. First one is going to be a dry fogger setup. Second one is going to be a wet fogger setup. Third is going to be a direct port fogger setup. And the fourth is going to be a plate fogger setup. Now, these are all different techniques on how to do the same thing. Each one has its own characteristics, pros and cons. Let's get into them. All right, so first off, a dry nitrous system. This setup relies on the existing fuel system to provide the additional fuel needed for the combustion chamber. Now, this is typically going to be introduced upstream into the intake, which means that the fogger is only responsible for supplying the nitrous oxide, no fuel. A wet nitrous system adds additional fuel through means by an additional pump, which intermixes with the nitrogen oxide through the same fogger. So it could be the direct port fogger or the plate fogger, whatever it is, but basically they get mixed together. Now, you can tune how much fuel gets delivered, and that's by means of the little jets within the fogger system. So it's essentially the basics of nitrous oxide. Now, as far as spraying your car, there's tons of different variables and thousands of different setups out there. And you definitely don't want to cheap out on your nitrous oxide system, otherwise, so if you have any questions or want to find out which setup is the best for your car, or you just want to piece together a kit, give us a shout. 561-753-8105 or shoot us an email at support@lethalperformance.com. Thanks for stopping by, guys.